Hello, I'm Rose. I'm a sailor and I'm the production manager of the Wind, Tide and Oar project. And I'm here with Jorne. So Jorne, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you very much, Rose. My name is Captain Jorne Langelaan. Well, Captain, because I've been sailing as a master on the engineless sail cargo vessel Tres Hombres for quite some time, doing quite a bit of Atlantic crossings, and currently I'm here in command and as the founder of EcoClipper company, which is a company which is going to set up several shipping lines with sailing cargo and sailing passenger vessels to connect the continents and give people the opportunity to travel and to get cargo emission free from around the world.
Brilliant, yeah. So I guess the reason why we're having a conversation today is our film project is about engineless sailing, and this conversation is kind of about that, specifically in relation to carrying cargo, which is your speciality. And so we're interested in Wind, Tide and Oar. We're interested in how this way of thinking can kind of help us with the vast challenges that we have to face in terms of the transport of goods, the environment, and also the psychological element of why people do this work and what benefit it has to individuals and to communities. And so your work is really relevant to this and vital to it. So I'm really interested in your experience on Tres Hombres, which was an engineless, or is an engineless cargo vessel. And you founded this company, Fairtransport, in 2007, I gather. And Tres Hombres is still running today and is seen as a kind of ambassador of sail cargo. So, yeah, I'm interested in how, what it was like to be running a commercial vessel completely under sail, entirely under sail, and what kind of limitations or difficulties this kind of arose, and what were the benefits of it?
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Well, really, I guess I should start a little bit to explain the why of this of having no engine in this ship. I've been a sailor from an early age, and I actually started sailing on motor ships with my uncle, who used to be a ship owner and captain on cargo ships. And but I always also read about really sailing ships, and I started relatively soon after sailing on those motor ships on a topsail schooner, where there was an engine but also sails, so what you would call like an auxiliary schooner. And there, I was kind of raised by this captain, teaching me how to sail and how to sail with using the engine as less as possible. And later on sailing on other sailing ships and still using the engine quite a bit because of all kinds of reasons. And then when the time came to launch Fairtransport, it just became apparent and made really sense to, as the first thing when we purchased a vessel, was to take out the engine, to really make the statement that it is possible to carry cargo totally emission free. And how more to prove that than to really don't have an engine, so you can't really use it either. And and yeah, that of course, yeah, it also felt sometimes a little bit like Don Quixote fighting the windmills, because of course society isn't really set up for engineless sailing vessels nowadays. But that was different, of course, in the past, like before fossil fuels started ruling the world. Yeah, everybody used sailing ships, and that was a quite advanced mode of traveling and transport, and perfectly accepted. When we started with Tres Hombres, though, 90% of the people who knew about sailing said we were absolutely crazy. And yeah, and then when we started doing it, and it actually worked, yeah, a lot of people kind of changed their mind and just accepted it as yeah, as something happening and something which is existing. Like yeah, I can kind of imagine like how people 100 years ago would say it's absolutely crazy that you built an airplane, cannot work. And then when there's airplanes all around nowadays, people are like, yeah, actually, well, it is possible to fly with an airplane. It's not, well, it actually works. Well, it doesn't work always, but most of the time it does. And with sailing ships, it's the same. Yeah, you can just have a sailing ship carry cargo without engines, and yeah, you have the huge benefit of no emissions at all, and that's why yeah, why we are doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that you'd actually taken the engine out of Tres Hombres. That's quite a statement. And so in terms of, because you said the world isn't really set up for engineless vessels anymore. So was that difficult? Because I know that, you know, from other people's experience, so getting into harbour, getting into tight spaces, getting into marinas and things, did you have to make use of motor vessels who would give you a tow, or could you do it all under sail, or, you know, using your anchor?
Yeah, with the maneuvering in port, of course, it's always something you really have to start yeah, thinking ahead. The sailing without engine, it forces you to think about the future, and yeah, and it forces you actually to yeah, to act seaman-like, and to take take nature into account, take the currents and the winds and the weather changes and the environment and geography all into account. And yeah, the experience with Tres Hombres is, of course, the more industrial the port becomes, the more you have to kind of align to that industrialness. And yeah, and that means sometimes organizing towage like tugboat. And but yeah, the farther off you come to, like places where yeah, anchoring is more accepted and stuff, and where there's less traffic, yeah, it becomes easier to just maneuver under sail. Especially leaving under sail is, of course, something yeah, which is yeah, really the kind of the low-hanging fruits. Like you can really decide your time to leave, and really yeah, really use the advantage of that planning, and that you can really decide that. But also there's options, of course, with anchoring, to just anchor and await the right moment.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I yeah, well, we have short time, but I can tell many occasions where yeah, where the maneuvering in and out can be done. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's means and ways. So then moving forward, so in 2018, you founded this shipping and travel company called EcoClipper. So you've got the prototype design of a ship, three-masted, square-sailed ship with cargo capacity of 500 gross tons. So does this design include an engine, or is it just sail alone?
So yeah, with this particular prototype, which is actually designed to be built in series, we didn't include mechanical propulsion. So she's a pure sailing vessel, no auxiliary, and yeah, so it's a sailing vessel,
Okay.
basically. What can you say? But of course, yeah, I imagine I'm talking to the ones who find that totally sensible. But yeah, often I talk to people, and I kind of have to yeah, discuss about it and kind of explain the reasoning a lot. But yeah, maybe with you, I just can say it's a sailing ship.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess for the people that don't sail as much or don't sail at all, who might be listening or watching to this, they might be wondering how, like, what are the justifications and why you made that choice.
Yes. So so of course there is science behind all of this. Yeah, we are a sustainable shipping company, so we offer we offer the possibility for shippers to ship their cargo as close to emission-free as possible, and also we offer the possibility for people to travel across the ocean as an alternative for flying, and that way also travel across the ocean quite environmentally friendly. And yeah, in that picture, as soon as you start using an engine for longer periods of time, you actually become less sustainable than the existing modes of transport. And this is not because you're not you're not using wind power, but it's because of the economies of scale. And these the ships we are comparing with, of course, container vessels and bulk vessels, bulk carriers, and they are huge. They are often like in general about 100 times larger than the EcoClipper 500 design, and that also means they are quite efficient with their fuel if you compare it to the amount of per ton per mile of cargo being delivered. So as soon with a small ship like this, you use like 10 or 20% of the time your engine, then you're actually more polluting than these container vessels. So to be really to really let it make environmental sense, you shouldn't use this engine at all. And that's also so that's also the reasoning to not have an engine, because you would only need to use that engine. Well, you could, if you look at the environmental science, you could only use it in port for like the last moment of maneuvering. But while you're underway, you should never use it. And if you then at that moment make the economical calculation of building an engine room into a ship like this, it actually it doesn't it's not economically viable to build an engine in a ship like that. So yeah, apart from being a very passionate sailor, I'm also into maritime economics, and I'm striving to run a viable business. So looking at the economics, it doesn't make sense to have an engine room for propulsion on that is sailing cargo vessel, which is designed for long voyages. On shorter voyages, it's a different story, because then you have a lot more moments that you are in port and you might need a little bit of help maneuvering. And then it turns out that it's actually more economical to have an engine instead of and just not use it while on the way, but just have it there to to not have to pay for tugboats.
Sure.
And also all of this also depends on the port infrastructure, because nowadays these ports, they are not set up for receiving larger vessels without engine. But of course, 150 years ago or so, the infrastructure was set up with like long piers going out into the sea, where you could you could just anchor in front of those piers and bring over a warp to the piers, and there would be like horses, or there would be people to help you being towed in a emission-free way. But right now we are not so far yet, so we have to we kind of have to follow what we find in these ports, and that is just often a situation where you just need to rely to an engine, and that could be like your own internal engine then, or it could be like a tugboat. And also there's the point of lighterage, like of course in pre fossil fuel era, there was lighters in every port. So you would anchor outside the port, and then there would be lighters, like small barges coming alongside, and you would be discharging the cargo in these lighters, and they would sail into the port, often like with sails, or sometimes with oars. And that would make a very sustainable way and very safe way discharging vessels. But all of that infrastructure is just not there. So we have to deal with what we get.
That's really interesting. So as well as the kind of the environmental benefits of having a completely emission-free shipping kind of fleet, are there any other benefits like to individuals who sail on these vessels, or to the like workforce as a whole, or to the community ashore? Is there any kind of other maybe emotional benefits?
Very much. Yeah, of course. It's a different way of different way of being a mariner, of feeling the sea. It really makes you aware of nature and the elements, and it's you can absolutely not compare it with sailing with an engine. You always it's different. It's a total different ballgame. It needs different seamanship. It needs different sailors. It needs different preparation of your voyage. It needs different voyage planning. It needs to be really connected to the elements. It needs connection to meteorology. As a master on an engineless cargo sailing vessel, like the main thing you're working with is with looking at the weather and predicting the weather, and making sure that that you find yourself in the right spot at the right moment when the weather change gives you that advantage of of the change of wind to reach your destination. And it is actually very exciting. It's an exciting lifestyle. It's so much more aligned to the reality that as a people we have to respect nature, and we have to live with nature. We cannot demand nature to change for us, but we are supposed to change for nature and accept rather than demand. And I think that changes everything, and it changes the way we engage with each other, the way we are spending our lives. And it's a different lifestyle than most people have become acquainted the last 50 or 100 years. And I think also, looking back at all the years I've been sailing now, and especially the period I've been working with Tres Hombres, running the company there, or sailing as a master on her. Of course, we carried a lot of cargo, but it cannot be measured towards the amount of cargo being carried on those routes anyway. But what we really did, and I think this might actually be the key why it has been so successful, is hundreds of people we've taken with us across the ocean to show them how to interact and how to work together with nature instead of against it. And of course, the main impact was for the people who had the experience to join these voyages, but that impact also has spread to all the people they talked to later on, and all the people who purchased the goods who have been transported this way, and all the people who kind of talked about engineless sailing, and kind of discussed the possibilities and the difficulties in the shoreside bars and at other occasions. And I think that really made the change. And even in the future with EcoClipper, when we would have many ships sailing, the real change it will actually be causing will be the change of mind of people, which will ignite a change in the way we act with nature instead of against it.
Yeah, you're kind of hitting on the head exactly why we're doing this film project. Actually, it's that kind of passion and connection, like emotional connection, that's really compelling and kind of spreads like wildfire between people. And it's what we so desperately need right now in the world as well. So I'm aware of time. We've got about 10 minutes left. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the Tucker, the ship that you bought recently for the EcoClipper company?
Definitely. So I should start a little bit with EcoClipper itself, because of course EcoClipper has as its vision to develop these newbuild ships, engineless, quite larger, three-masted, full-rigged ships to connect all the continents. And we have gone very far with the design with that. And now it's awaiting the structuring of the financing with banks and investors and financial institutions. And in the meantime, we thought we should just get operational because it's a process, and we know it takes time. But it's of course easier to get a smaller ship in business, and that's why we with the EcoClipper cooperative, it's actually a cooperative company, so people like you and me and others can become member of the EcoClipper cooperative by investing in the cooperative. And we decided that the cooperative should purchase a smaller vessel, which was existing already. And we decided to purchase the Tucker. She was built in 1912 as a trading ketch. So really for sailing cargo around coastal. So I guess like around Northern Europe or Western Europe. And that's also what we are gonna do with her. So currently I'm here in Franeker, in Friesland, the Netherlands, the place where the shipyard is, where the heavy steel work is being done on this ship. She will be able, after we are finished with this, we still have to do the fit out and the rigging, and we'll be doing that in the coming months. And then she will be able to carry cargoes of about 60 cubic meters and 12 passengers. And we're gonna start a liner service on the North Sea between the UK and the Netherlands. That's kind of like the foundation of this ship's route. And then we look at different other routes which are kind of in the area. So we are looking at hauling cargo from Portugal to the UK. We're looking at hauling cargo from the UK to the Baltic and Finland. Kind of what you would call the coastal trade. Mm. She's I have to admit, she's an auxiliary ketch. So she has two masts, gaff rigged, and she has an auxiliary engine as well. And we won't be using that on the way, but this is actually the example where we are trading in a highly highly industrialized trading area, where we kind of have to obey to the to the way things are right now, while we are awaiting a change in infrastructure in the ports. We can't really wait for using sail, so we keep the engine in this ship, and it had an engine which was built in like about 20 years ago to change another engine, but this engine is still relatively new, and it can be used in port for maneuvering. And but we might be looking a few years from now to replace that for like electrical engine or so. We're already using a special kind of fuel, which the manufacturer says it's like it's kind of a biofuel with hydrogen attached to it. It's some innovation which helps to reduce the emissions with 90%.
Wow.
But it's still an engine, and it I'm aware that it does take away a little bit of this alignment to nature. But on the other hand, it's right now, it is there. It's already, the investment is already done. So we might as well use it instead of having to rent tugboats in every port we come. There will be a lot of ports for this ship in these short voyages. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, well, that's. I think we're almost out of time. So there's so many more things that I would like to ask you. I'm sure we could talk for days on this. But for now, maybe if we wrap up there, it's really exciting what you're doing, and I think it's what the world needs. So brilliant. Thank you very much.